Hello and welcome back to K Talk. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Randy.
And today we wanted to talk to you about books. You know, we are a library after all. Specifically, we wanted to talk about books written by Korean American authors or Korean authors in the YA section. So these are all books categorized for young adults. And we chose a couple different ones. So yours is kind of a little on the dark side, and mine is kind of a little bit on the light side.
Yours is more like a romantic comedy drama.
Yeah, kind of.
Mine is more like a historical mystery drama.
Yeah. So, you know, there you go.
Yeah.
Either of these books could end up being in a drama one of these days. You never know. A lot of dramas have been adapted from a lot of the Korean American authors as well. So let's get into it. I chose a book called I Believe in a Thing Called Love. And the kind of motto of the book is all's fair in love and Korean dramas. So obviously the Korean drama aspect drew me to this, and this is written by Maureen Goop. Yeah, so it was all about the K-dramas. When I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, you know, this might be quirky and fun, because who doesn't love K-dramas? And while it was, I did enjoy a lot of sections of this, but there were some things that I was a little bit on. It was a little cringy, and, you know, I think this goes back to talk about, like, some of the times where we talk about that in Korean dramas, sometimes you have these really strong women who are, like, capable, smart, you know, they are go-getters. You introduce a man, and all of a sudden, they don't know how to tie their shoelaces.
Oh, geez.
So that's kind of the thing that I wasn't really too enthusiastic about in this book. We have this girl, she's in high school. Last year, she's a senior, who is looking at going to Stanford for medicine. So she's like top of her class, involved in every activity you can imagine, involved in sports, like all around chaebol almost, you could say, you know, that kind of status. She comes from a middle class family and whatnot, but she's going to a school that's kind of a mix of middle class and like ritzy ditzy people. In comes our gentleman. So this boy transfers into her school, and she kind of, when we're introduced to her, she's kind of a klutz when it comes to talking to boys. She has no idea how to talk to boys. And every time she tries to talk to a boy, something really bad happens. Like the first guy in one of the first scenes, she's talking to this guy who's a freshman and she's a senior, and he's kind of trying to ask her out, and she sneezes snot in his face.
Oh no. Oh no. How
It was
awful.
kind of funny. And then when she meets this guy, she's like talking to him and her pants fall.
Oh no.
So she's embarrassed beyond belief, and where does she turn to for advice?
K-dramas?
K-dramas. At first, she's very hesitant. She hates K-dramas. Her dad's all like a K-drama fanatic. So over the course of her pity party over a weekend, she ends up watching all these K-dramas and says, there's a formula to this. So she decides to adapt the K-drama formula to try to land this guy. That's where the dumb factor comes in. So she employs all these weird, crazy tactics, including putting their lives in danger, which I was not really happy about. I was like, oh my God. I was reading this and I was like, are you kidding me? Why? You're a teenager. You've got this mentality where you want to take, you know, charge of your life. You want to go to medical school, and yet you're going to endanger your life for a boy. Like, not really cool. And she kind of manipulates him into this, and it was pretty awful in certain sections. Like, I was just like, why won't you stop? Like, why are you continuing to do this? But again, this is one of those books, it's a romantic comedy, so all's well that ends well kind of mentality. So in the end, they do end up together, and he forgives her for all the craziness she put him through. But again, that kind of mentality of as soon as a boy's in your vicinity, you're going to lose all train of thought. You're going to lose all logic. I wasn't really happy about that. Other than that, there were some really cute scenes in this. I will not deny that. There were some really cute scenes, especially towards the end. Hilarity ensued in a lot of different ways. Obviously, since she's trying to pull off all these crazy antics, there was a lot of hilarity. So yeah, I mean, read with caution is probably what I'm gonna say. Don't take advice from this book in terms of relationships, because that is not how the world works, and you should never, ever, ever put your life or someone else's life in danger just to try to land a guy.
True.
So yeah.
True.
What do you think?
It sounds very much like maybe she took the worst parts of K-dramas and followed that advice then.
She followed the damsel in distress kind of advice.
Were the dramas, I'm just curious, were the dramas that she watched, did they mention like any titles, or were these just like nebulous ones, or were they actual dramas that exist?
There were certain nebulous dramas, like, you know, she talks about the steps that she's doing, and it's all like things that you could relate to a bunch of different dramas. But there was a couple that she did mention, which one of them was Kill Me, Heal Me.
Oh, okay.
The other one was, oh my God, the Healer,
Okay.
yes. Healer. She mentioned Heirs, I believe, briefly.
Oh, no.
And then towards the end, it was Descendants of the Sun.
Okay.
So yes, you can imagine some of the things that might have.
Well, Healer and Descendants of the Sun, there's a lot of like really over the top sort of situations that happen in those, because, you know, there's really like one's about war and like disaster situations, and the other one has like criminals and
vigilantes.
Yes,
and you know.
So I'm not sure those were the best ones.
And then Kill Me, Heal Me is all about like trauma and like, you know, multiple personality disorder and like the hilarity. I mean, that drama is one of my favorites. Don't get me wrong.
No,
it's hilarious and it's fantastic. But it is not a recipe for dating.
No,
none of these are.
No.
You know, K-dramas are a fantasy world that we all absolutely love. But it is just that. It is fantasy. Reality is far from that.
Yeah.
And if we try to live up to those standards,
well,
great. You know, there are some very nice things about K-dramas.
Especially with Heirs, because Heirs, they're all super like
class
wealthy
division, exactly.
Students living in this.
Oh, and
like,
Boys Over Flowers, too. She mentioned that. Yeah. So there's you know, there's a lot of things. But like I said, you know, although we love K-dramas, and you and I both absolutely love K-dramas, we know that that's not reality.
Oh, no.
And while there are very nice things in K-dramas, which we wish we could live up to, the truth is far from that.
Yes,
so again, read with caution. So let's move on to your book.
Oh, sure. So I read something completely different than yours. Yes. It's called The Forest of Stolen Girls by June Her. So June Her was actually born in South Korea, raised in Canada, and this is kind of a historical mystery. So in this particular book, it's set in Joseon, the Joseon age of Korea in 1426, and so the main character, her name is Min Hwan-hee. Her father has disappeared. Her father was a detective. It's kind of the most famous detective in Joseon. Era. Yes. And he went to Jeju to sort of visit with her sister that they've kind of been estranged with for several years. And he disappeared. And she's been told that he has died. And so she doesn't believe this. She doesn't believe that he is dead. They haven't found his body. All they have is like his clothing with some blood on it, and that's it. So she decides to run away from kind of this overbearing aunt, the fact that she's engaged to someone, she's supposed to marry someone, so she runs away from everything, gets on a boat, and travels to Jeju to sort of find her father. So it's all about her sort of reconnecting with her estranged sister, Min Mei-wol, who's been studying to be a shaman, and finding her father, who actually was in Jeju to get Mei-wol, but also to investigate the disappearance of 13 girls. So she finds, like, when she is traveling over there, she's going over on a boat, she hears this story about the fact that 13 girls have gone missing, and nobody is really concerned about these girls.
Of course.
They're kind of like, oh, well, they probably just ran away. Oh, they probably, they fell in love and they ran away, kind of thing. They were all pretty, they just went outside the home, that kind of thing. So nobody really cares about the fact that these girls are missing. So she starts investigating her father's disappearance, and as a connection, she starts investigating these girls as well. And it all connects to kind of something that happened to both sisters 5 years ago. Yes. So both sisters got lost in the forest, and when Huani woke up, she didn't remember anything that happened, and there was a dead girl in the forest as well. So it's about these 13 missing girls. It's about the father's disappearance. Is he really dead?
Is he alive?
Yes, we don't know. But also, like, what happened to these sisters in the woods 5 years ago.
Okay, so did you finish the whole book?
Absolutely.
Okay, so by the end of the book, we still don't know.
Oh, everything's resolved.
Oh, everything's resolved.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted. I know we're not gonna spoil the ending. I just wanted to know if this is like book one of the
no,
series.
everything is resolved in this book. Although she has written similar type books. She has one called Silence of Bones, and then The Red Palace, and they all involve like kind of investigators in some way. So I haven't read those other two yet. I do have them checked out, so I'm kind of wondering if they're connected in any way.
Right. If they're kind of in the
same like universe. World.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, this is a standalone book. It's not part of it doesn't seem to be part of a series. There is a resolution to all of the mysteries. It was a little like a slow burn at times. It is historical, so there's a lot of historical details. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. Watching Korean dramas, variety shows, that kind of thing, talking about some of the history of Jeju, but also the history of the time, with the fact that, like, Korea was kind of like a vassal state of China, and so she goes into a lot of history.
So lots of good information, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of touches on a lot of different things.
So is there anything that you didn't like about the book?
Not really. I listened to this. The narrator did a good job. There were times where I was a little frustrated with the main character. There's no romance in this book. It's really more about the sisters reconnecting and the search for the father and the mystery part of it. So that didn't bother me at all. It's just sometimes the decisions that the main character made, Huani, it's just kind of like, you need to. I felt like she needed to trust her sister a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
But that gets resolved as well. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I will probably pick that one up myself. I did grab Red Palace. And I was going to read that instead because honestly, halfway through this book, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to finish it. Because I was getting really angry at some of the antics and just kind of like, what is going on here? But I decided to persevere. I said, I picked this up. I want to see how it ends and want to see if hopefully they both survive, considering some of the things that happen. But yeah, I definitely want to read one of her books because it sounds like there's a good mix of like history and then you've got mystery and you know.
Yeah, I think the next one that I'm going to read is Red Palace, only because the cover's really pretty, and based on what I was reading, well, it's not really pretty. It's obviously it is pretty. Also, at the same time, is kind of like horror-esque a little bit, and I think it connects or it goes into like what's his name, Crown Prince Sado, a little bit of his history. I think there's murder in the palace. So
we decided kind of to do books for the summer, although we will be talking about another topic, but we will have another month of books, and I know I'm definitely going to choose something a little different. I don't know that I'll talk about one of these since you're going to be doing probably Red Palace, I'm guessing.
No, I have a different book. It's more like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do have another one in mind, so we'll have to chat and make sure we don't read the same one. But you know, there is a good collection of books here in the library, both physical, and there are some that are in digital format and audio format, ready for you to check out. And they're great. I mean, even if you get frustrated with some of the things, there's some really fun information. There's a lot of historical knowledge, and there's also, you know, mystery involved. So there's a plethora of books here for you guys to check out, and we definitely encourage you as we move into summer adventure to pick up one of these books so you can earn yourself some points for our summer adventure program. But thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time with more K-Talk.
Bye.
Bye.